And we have strings, additionally. Strings consist of characters. For example, type hello. The result is a string. What if you don't write any quotes? It will be an error because hello itself is nothing. Without any quotation mark, hello itself is not a data type. It's not something that you can somehow define as a string. You have to mention that you want to write it within these quotes, and then it will turn out to be a string. So you have 3 data types in Python: integer, float, and string. So the main difference between an integer and a float is the period. If you do not have any fraction, then it's an integer. If you have a fraction, then it's a float. And if you have something within these quotation marks, then it's a string. So these are this is the rough explanation of the difference between these 3 data types. And with the help of type function, you can define whether something is an integer or not, a float or not, and so on, okay? So as I mentioned, for example, this number is a float, but 3 itself is an integer, okay? I think it's obvious that you cannot add a value to a string. For example, if you write a hello plus 2, here we have a problem. 2 is not a string. 2 is an integer, and you somehow try to add 2 to hello, which is a string. It's not possible. In order to do that, you can simply write this 2 within quotation mark, and the result will be hello 2, because you can use this adding operator between 2 strings, but it will not add this into this. It will concatenate this. So it's not adding. Look, this is adding, okay? This is adding because you try to add 4 to 3. Both of them are integers, so addition or summing, like whatever you want. But this is not adding, this is not summing, it's concatenating. And if you want to have a space between these 2 values, then you have to simply put a space here, like 1 tab, and it will be hello 2. That's it. I think it's really understandable. Why is 2 easy to understand? You cannot add 2 as an integer to a string, but if you write that 2 within quotation marks, then it will also be a string, and you can add them together, and it will be again a string. The result will be again a string. That's it. I think I briefly talked about strings. If you write something within a quotation mark, then it will be a string, but it doesn't mean that you always have to write it in 1 quotation mark. Let's say hello. This is a string, but this is also a string, hello, and this is also a string. Okay, so there's nothing problematic here, but we have one problem. Let's have a look at these 2 strings. Lucy's car is red. There's no problem because this thing is different from these. Okay, this is possessive case, the apostrophe, but these are quotation marks that create the string. But if I write this, Lucy's car is red, then it will be a problem because the program confuses whether this is also the ending quotation mark or something different. And for doing this, it will return an error, syntax error. It will think that this part is extra, it's not correct or something. In order to prevent this kind of error, just simply type backslash, and there will be no problem already, because this backslash before the apostrophe is the escape operator. It somehow kind of removes the effect of this quotation mark, and it means that it's not the ending quotation mark. It's related to something different, maybe apostrophe for a possessive case or something different. Okay, that's it. Or you can write like this. That's it. Okay, this is called an escape operator. And again, you can set a string to a variable as a value. Okay, the most important part is string slicing. Let's briefly talk about this. Let's create a variable called a and set it a value. For example, hello. Okay, now let's try to slice it. In order to slice it, you have to know something: indexes in Python. In Python, you have indexes, and these indexes start from 0. The first element is in index 0. The second one is in index 2. The third one is in index 3, and so on. In Python, your indexes start from 0. So the first element refers to index 1. The second refers to index... In Python, your indexes start from 0. So the first element refers to index 0. The second one refers to index 1. The third element refers to index 2, and so on. That's it. So if I write A brackets 0, it will return H, which is the first element, because it means 0's index, which equals to the first character. Okay? If I write A2, it will refer to the third element, which is L. And now let's move on to something more interesting. A and -1. It will refer to the last element, okay? So negative indexes indicate the last, the reverse version. So -1 is the last element, or -2 is the second from the end, and so on. And if I write A-1, it will be the last character, which is an exclamation mark. Okay? If I write A-2, it will be O. If I write A-2, it will be O because it's the second from the end. If I write A-3, it will be L, which is the third from the end. I mean this element. That's it. I think you could understand it. And let's move on to slicing. String slicing has this notation, this structure. It starts with the starting index, and then stop index, and then jump. Of course, we have to put this sign in order to indicate that it is not a piece of code. It's a markdown. It's a comment. Let's write A. Let's again remind that A is hello, okay? Remind it to us, not to program, because it already knows it. A, 1, 2, 3. The result is L, because that means starting index, which is 1. So start from the element in the first index and go up to but not including the third index. So the first index refers to the second element, which is E, and go up to but not including the third index, which is the fourth element. So you start from E and take L but not the second L, because the second L is the fourth element, is the third index. But notation says that start from the first index and go up to but not including the third index, okay? So E and L. And let's write something different. A1, 4. Then, 4. It will be ELL. It will take E, L, and L, but not O, because O is the fourth index, is the fifth element and the fourth index, and you cannot include it, okay? Let's write A, 3, 5. It means start from the third index, so start from the fourth element and go up to but not including the fifth element. And go up to but not including the fifth index, which is the sixth element, and the sixth element is this exclamation mark, so you cannot take that exclamation mark. Just start from the third element, just start from the third index and go up to but not including the fifth index. So take L and O, but not the exclamation mark. That's it. And let's talk about this jump step. A, 1, 3, and by default it's 1. Okay? So there's no difference between this and this, because this jump index is by default 1. So there's a hidden 1 here. Okay? It means just take every element. Like, do not jump over anything. But if I write 2, then it means every time omit one element and take the second. For example, take the first index, E, the second index, L, do not include the third index, and jump over 2. It means take the first index. It means take the first index, but omit the second one. Do not include this L. You have to omit one and take the other. So take E, which is the first index. Do not take L, because we have a jumping step, which is 2, not 1. Do not include L, and do not include the third index, which is the second L, so the result will be just E. But if I write 5, 5 indicates the sixth index, and you cannot take the sixth index, right? 5 indicates the sixth element, and fix use the exclamation mark. It says start from the first index, but do not take the fifth index, but go up to there. And the result will be E, not L, the second L, not O, and not exclamation. EL, okay? Because we have a jumping step, which is 2. What happens if I write 6 here? 6 means this exclamation mark will also be included because it's the sixth element, but it means do not include the seventh element, not the sixth, okay? We have a jumping step, which is 2, so H, not E, not H, sorry. Let's put it 0. 0 indicates the first element, take the first and go up to the last. take H, not E, take L, not L, take O, and not exclamation. That's it. What if you have 3 as a jumping step? Take L, not E and L, take this L and not O and exclamation mark. So the result will be just H and L. And we have a shorter notation for this part. If you want to include the whole string, just simply write A, this, and this. The result will be the same, okay? But if you write just one colon, then the result will be hell, because it's simple. It says start from the very first element, go up to but do not include the third index, and the jumping step is 1 by default because I haven't mentioned it. There's a hidden 1 here again. That's it. You can write something like this, which indicates the whole string. You can write like this, which indicates the reverse version of that string, okay? So take everything, but you have a jumping step -1. So take everything in the reverse version, okay? So this is the reverse version. You have to memorize it because it's very useful. And let's talk about something different. 3 and -1. So it will start from the very first element. And -1. Okay. Let's see, do you have anything to say? Almost nothing. And this one starts from the third index and go up to and including the last element, okay? Because I don't have any boundary here. I don't have any, let's say, any boundary, so you can go till the end. Here, you take the whole string. You do not include the last element. -1 indicates the last element, and you cannot include it. Here, you cannot include the last 2 elements. It's not the jumping step here, because it's in the second place. It's not a jumping step. Jumping step is again 1. There's a hidden 1 here and here, okay? Do not forget about it. That's it. And here, just go up to, but not including the last 2 elements, but you have to jump over 1 element every time because you have a jumping step, which is 2. And here, just take the whole string, but jumping step is 2, and so on. And -1 is, again, the reverse version. I've already shown it. And we have some more things. I think I talked about this, and this, and this. And again, this, I think we did it in the previous section. I wrote I plus equals 1, and you can do the same thing for strings as well. Just simply write A plus equals a quotation mark, and it will concatenate these 2 strings, okay? And let's briefly talk about these 2 things. Guys, strings are not immutable. You cannot say A equals hello, okay? But you cannot say I want to change one of the elements. Like, let's say, you cannot say I want the third element to be M, not, let's say, L. The third element, which is L, is in index 2, right? You cannot write I want it to be M. It will be an error because string objects does not support item assignment. You cannot change it. They are immutable. And we have a function len, which is specific to strings. You write len A, and it will return the number of elements, the number of characters within a string. That's it, guys. I do not want to overload you with lots of information. I think that's it. This is enough for today. We talked about basic mathematical operations. Then I talked about type function, then variables, then strings, and some specific operators, and then len function and string slicing. That's it. Thanks for listening. I hope it will be useful for you. See you in the next class.